To try something interesting today. So notice this drive. This is a local drive I take. We're starting off at top of a hill kind of, and we're heading down into a little dip, and we're going to go up. And I want to show you because I drive this very frequently, and I think about it all the time, all this Tartaria, all this ancient understuff, because every tree around us, look at how young they all are in comparison to how old the world is. And there's so many hills, I'd never chalk them up to glaciers and all that nonsense. I think there's a lot of things buried under here, and I think they use golf courses, cemeteries, and any other means they can to bury that stuff. So again, we're going back up a hill, and I want to take you on this drive because I think about this stuff a lot on this drive, and I wanted to capture it and bring it into my mind on a very frequent drive of mine. And so there's some stone walls and different things that you'll see on the side starting off, but it's going to go all the way to the Great Wall of Tartaria and beyond, which is the Canton Viaduct. And so to the left over there, you can see there's there's kind of some good forest, and there's a stone wall that's pretty nice right there. And I think that goes deeper into the woods. And this autistic school is there right across from a cemetery. And right on the other side, you can see that ledge. Right on the other side over there, there's a ledge, and then there's the cemetery. So the cemetery is kind of on a high place with a very straight down drop. And this is that school, which I think has some stuff buried underneath, because all of those look like the tops of buildings that went deeper. And if you think about it, this area and the way it's elevated and the cemeteries and the golf courses around it, it seems to make a lot of sense. And I think this happens in small town America everywhere. So again, the stone wall, and is that the top of a stone thing, or is that just the wall? Or is it blown up pieces and just assembled into a wall? They blew up all the structures and had a bunch of rocks lying around. What better way to use them than a wall? Over there, so you can see there's a dip. There's a really steep drop on the other side of that, and it borders the thing. If you were to see a contour map, which I'm going to show in one of these videos later, you could see just a steep drop off right there. And there used to be some form of church right around here, some form of property thing that used to be there, and it's been taken down for about 20 years now, but I remember it when I was a kid driving by. Now it's just a huge gulch, and there's a remembrance sign of the Native Americans and stuff. Meanwhile, right across the street on the other side behind us, the cemetery with Jesuit art right there. Boom, that one that you see, that cross, is a Jesuit. A lot of those are 1700s, 1800s, very old. On that side, those shrines, I always wonder about them. Right across the street, another very hilly cemetery, amazingly hilly. I was in that cemetery one time and got chased around by ridiculous amounts of flies, which is kind of nuts. But there's golf courses and cemeteries all over this path, and I am so convinced that what better way to bury the secrets of the past than under something desecrating. Like, boom, that church looks like it's older, but I don't think it is. This one I think is a little older, or was at one point, but it's nothing really too spectacular, nothing too Tartarian or anything like that. But there are a lot of houses on this strip, because Canton is known to be a very famous old town, and some of these houses are obviously modernized, but this street itself has had some of those Victorian, amazing style houses on it for a very long time. Some of them you'll see are old and are kind of redone and brought up. This is the Historical Society, the Canton Historical Society. I want to go in there. Very unique building. 2 pillars on the outside, always kind of interesting. The obelisks, which they also put at the aqueduct, the viaduct, which you'll see in a little bit. So the viaduct that we're heading towards, I did a video on a long time ago, and it's pretty nice. You have to definitely check it out, because I go into it deeper there about the Freemason talks and history and symbols, and the bridge itself, which is now housing a train on top and has a waterway underneath, canals kind of leading out of it, a little waterfall, all these things. They claim the Freemasons did it. They carved little symbols into it, they say is proof. Meanwhile, there's no real photographic evidence. This is a factory zone over there. I feel like they built factories over a lot of different old technologies. I think that might have been an old factory as well. Temple on that side, not really any ancient or anything connection there. But we go down this way. The train tracks are near here, which is now again what is on top of the viaduct, which you're going to see. This is again another strip of nice houses, and they're old. They have, I believe, old pictures of them. It's one of those streets. These are a nice brick house. That one's kind of crazy with 4 different ways going. But again, more of these houses that were just prominent neighborhoods back in the day, and you can still see the glimpse of them now, like Newburyport and different things. There's kind of like a mini one inland. And again, I got to remember, Canton, Tartaria, China, Asia, All these things back in the day, they were all linked, and I think this was named for that reason. I don't think they had in 1700s any other reason, unless there is some sort of substantial connection to name it that way. So again, more nice houses. And I have a friend actually who claims that the viaduct that we're about to see has a passage underneath it where you can go, and there's tunnels and there's secret rooms, and I guess people were partying there at one point. And I'm not really, I think in the 70s when a lot of that stuff was a little more open. So yeah, this truck gets in front of me here, which is a little annoying, but this area just kind of breeze through. I'm going to skip through some of this because that guy, but not really much to see there. The bridge, that has the train that goes underneath it. But again, this old land, we're still a little bit elevated where we are, and I still believe there's stuff buried under it. Keep it going over here. You got the train behind it, stone walkway, nothing new, nothing old, all new. But underneath is where it all is. If you were to archaeologically dig in these places, you would find some secrets. So here we go, time for the Canton Viaduct, which is amazing, and I think one of the best local Massachusetts relics of an ancient past that they absolutely could not get rid of. It has too much. It has a canal connected to it. It is a drive-through area for cars. It has a railroad on top, so they could not get rid of this one. And it's interesting because there's a railroad on top, but if you look to the left and right of this very long structure, it is pretty long, but it's always dirt on either side, or it just looks like land. So it's tough to believe that this stone is what's capable of holding all that up, but then to the left and right of it, it's just dirt. I think this thing is buried way deep below. And if you look actually to the right, I kind of try to see it, there's a canal. So to the left, there's water that goes under those kind of tunnels. You see all those different little things, these archways over here. There's water right here, and then a waterfall right down here. And on the other side is a canal that goes really deep, which I will follow one day. An obelisk, if you'd see the obelisk back there. Let me actually go back to that just because. Right there, boom. See that obelisk? There's a weird little thing here. There's a beehive on it, definitely symbolic. They believe, they try to claim that it's the Freemasons. I don't buy it. I think they just put their little symbols, carve their symbols. But look how it goes into the distance over there. It goes into the distance. I think if you were to dig underneath, you'd find a lot. And up here, strategically, is a power plant. So some kind of like small electrical facility that really you must keep away from at all costs. Up there is where the train goes, the Acela. This wall may be pretty old. I'm not totally positive. This whole place is new. Nice little tower over there. But amongst all these roads to the left, there's always different things in the distance that you can see. Like, see, this is where that continuation of that is. And I think if you were to dig under here, you'd find more than dirt. So how long could that wall run for? It could run for miles. It could be a side of a star fort, the side of an ancient village, something. Because this whole area, this whole side of the road, and this whole kind of like 10 square mile zone has so many different ups and downs, so much terrain, so many different things buried under it, stone walls, a cow pasture, farms. Right now we're going up, so there is a lot underneath. I am truly convinced that they just, now that I've been diving down the airship realms, that at some point they just took airships to blow stuff up, took another round of airships to dump dirt on top of it. Maybe even after they had enough rounds of dirt dumped on all the rubble so that you could barely see anything and everything was blown to rock and utilized in different walls, different other kinds of things, then they seeded it all and put different plants down, put all different kinds of things. But each one of these little passageways down here leads to more and more interesting things. There's always kind of big walkways. There's always these ditches, these carved out areas that are preserved all amidst this. To the right also, on this side over here, you'll see very soon, golf courses. 2 separate golf courses. Over on this side, there's also a massive cemetery. This is just further proof to me that they used cemeteries and golf courses and other federal lands to hide things so that no one could ever dig, so that no housing development or commercial developer could ever come in and be like, oh, look what we found. This is too good to not make the historical record. So they have to put it in places where no one will ever dig. It's a desecration to dig over those graves. Of course it is. And then look at over there, there was a nice little hollowed out area that definitely had a structure. This was a main road at one point. It is a windy old road. Oh, this whole area is so old. It just reeks of it. I love the woods around here. Down there is where the country club, golf club is. And underneath there, so much. Again, all kinds of different terrain shifts everywhere, so many different mounds. The area in the woods over here is actually really incredible. There's a few nice paths, and there's very high, steep kind of cliff sides all over the place, as if there was either just like a massive drop or some form of structure, again, built. And there's a Jewish memorial cemetery at the top in the distance here. So you can see how high it is. Boom. There's different kinds of glimpses. You can see the distance in the back. Up here is a cemetery, this Jewish cemetery with interesting stonework and things, but the land itself that it's under is very important. I know there's something buried under here. Out of all the places around Massachusetts that I've seen, although this is one that I frequent a lot because I've lived in this area, golf course, but I am convinced that if I were to pick one spot that I could dig around and excavate and really see, it would be this whole area around this drive that I'm showing you. There are just too many things that cannot be really explained. Over here is a nice kind of area too. Again, boom, really open little path down there leading for the townspeople only. And you can see different skylines. There's different ditches, huge drops. There's stone walls along a lot of this underneath that you can find, different ones that are really old, big stones a lot of times, not as big as the viaduct, but big. And it is amazing what you'll find around this beautiful area. I'm going to continue going on this drive another day to show you a whole nother street in an area where I really grew up in. It was my favorite woods growing up. We used to have so many experiences there of a magical variety and just a beautiful youth exploration kind of thing that me and my best friends had when we were growing up. It was really priceless and led to a love of the woods and a nature and a curiosity through nature to explore it and to find all these different things. Up there is an amazing path. You can park there if you're around the Canton area. It is great. I recommend it. There's always some nice little flowers blooming around there as well. But go off path if it's allowed, which it always should be, and just explore some stuff, especially now at this time before everything grows back. It is absolutely priceless to get outside and into nature, and there are so many amazing things that I could show you on this path, which is my path to the gallery and just a path I've driven thousands of times in my life. I can remember it as a young kid going under that viaduct with my mom when I was probably 4, in a very early memory, and it stuck with me. And now here we are talking about Tartaria, and this is one of the most massive structures in America, in Massachusetts and New England especially, but it is massive. The Freemasons can no longer control the narrative. It's time to really dig around it and find out where that thing came from, what the true history is of Canton and Sharon and all of New England. Is it Norumbega, an ancient civilization, or something we can't even fathom? Most likely the latter. Have a great one, though. I will continue this drive soon. Another one thing, high tension wires. Another questionable thing. Them, golf courses, cemeteries, something sketchy in all of them. And that house up there to the right, I'm going to leave on that. One of my favorite houses in the area, so out of place, so old, and there's actually even a little, you can see it, this stone kind of kiln or old fireplace. Those are all over the woods. So many different things, so many old foundations, so many lies and falsities that need to be corrected by explorers and free thinkers like us. So get out there, hit the woods, find some cool stuff, and post about it. Let's keep the narrative expanding and getting better and truer. Bless you all.